Now turn to section 3. First, you have some time to look at question 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer question 21 to 25.
Come in, Lida, Ben. Have a seat. I've had a look through your preliminary proposal for the urban ecology module. It's certainly ambitious.
Thanks, Dr. Evans. We were worried it might be a bit too broad, actually.
Well, let's discuss that. But first, I want to clarify your rationale. There are dozens of reforestation techniques. Why specifically the Miyawaki method? Is it just because it's been in the news lately?
I know it's getting a lot of press, and while that made finding background reading easier, that wasn't the driver. Initially, we looked at traditional park planting, but we realized the City Council has suspended 3 major park projects due to space constraints.
Exactly. The Miyawaki method uses tiny pockets of land, sometimes the size of a tennis court. We thought if we could prove its viability here, it directly addresses the council's space issue. It's a functional fix for our specific city layout.
I see. So it's the application to local constraints that drew you in. Good. Now, looking at your methodology section, you mentioned 3 sites. How did the data collection go?
It was educational.
That's one way to put it. The actual physical work, measuring growth rates, taking soil samples, that was straightforward. We were worried about identifying the saplings correctly, but the app we used was brilliant.
The real headache was the bureaucracy. One of the sites is on land owned by a property developer. Even though they agreed in principle, getting the actual signed liability waivers took 3 weeks. We almost missed the planting season.
Yeah, we had a soil pH meter break on day 2, but we just borrowed a backup from the lab. That paperwork, though, never again.
Welcome to real-world research. Now, looking at your data set, I have a concern. You're comparing growth rates in the city center, the suburban fringe, and the industrial park.
Yes, we wanted to see how pollution levels affect the growth speed.
The problem is you're also introducing different microclimates. The industrial park is a heat island. The suburbs are cooler. If you try to analyze pollution and temperature and soil quality, your data will be too noisy.
So what do you suggest? Dropping a site?
No, keep the sites, but adjust your lens. Don't try to solve the whole equation. Perhaps just focus on the temperature regulation aspect across the 3 zones. If you try to cover soil chemistry as well, you'll run out of word count. Narrow the scope to the climatic impact.
That makes sense. Actually, that leads to what I wanted to mention about the pilot site.
The one near the old railway?
Yes, we expected the biodiversity to improve, obviously, and we did see some local birds returning, which was nice, but the literature suggested it takes about 5 years to see a significant drop in ambient temperature inside the forest.
But our sensors showed a 3-degree drop after just 18 months.
It was drastic. We knew the trees were tough. They survived that dry spell in June without any watering, but the cooling effect was immediate. I didn't think the canopy was dense enough yet to do that.
That is a significant anomaly. It's worth highlighting in your discussion. It could be due to the specific mix of species you utilized. Finally, let's talk about the presentation next month. How are you dividing the work?
I'm going to handle the literature review and the methodology. Lida's better at the analysis.
We're struggling a bit with the visuals, though.
Oh?
Well, I've generated a series of pie charts and bar graphs to show the growth rates, but Lida thinks it's too math-heavy.
It's not that it's math-heavy, Ben. It's that it's dry. This is about growth. I think we should use a timeline infographic, something that visually grows across the screen as we talk.
But that takes ages to design. Standard charts are clearer for scientific data.
I think Lida has a point. If you want to engage the audience, a narrative visual often works better than raw data for this kind of topic. Maybe compromise. Use the timeline for the main trend and a chart for the specific temperature anomaly.
I can live with that.
Okay, I'll look into some design software.
Excellent. Right, let's look at your bibliography.
This is the end of the test.